Boys and girls, now that we have learned about Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, as they celebrate in Mexico, we now can design our own sugar skulls to celebrate Dia de los Muertos here in the art room. What I have here is my sugar skull guide that shows me all different kinds of examples of sugar skulls, and I have my example. This is what our sugar skull will end up looking like, but first we need to draw our sugar skull. So what I have here is my piece of paper, I have my pencil, and I have my art eraser. So first thing I'm gonna wanna start with is the shape of the skull. Now, there are a couple of shapes that you can do. You can do a square jawline with a rounded top, like this one here. This one is also similar along with these two here. A square jawline with a rounded line on top. Or you could do a square jawline, and you could add some curves here between the square and the rounded shape for some cheekbones. So that's totally up to you. The square shape with the round line on top is a little bit more simple. So if you wanted to do a more simple shape, I would go with that option. If you want to add a little bit more detail, you could go ahead and add the cheekbone lines. I am going to add the cheekbone lines. So first thing I'm going to do with my pencil is start with that square jawline at the bottom. Then I'm going to add my curved lines for the cheekbones. Ooh, just kidding, I broke my pencil. Okay, I'm going to continue to add those curved lines for my cheekbones. I'm gonna try and make them the same on both sides. And if you're not adding the cheekbones from the square shape on the bottom, you would just add the rounded shape on top. If you did add the cheekbones, then you would add that round shape on top from there. Okay? All right. Silent thumbs up when you have the shape of your skull. Awesome. So from here, boys and girls, I'm going to let your creative juices flow. You can use some of the examples that you see on your guide to design your sugar skull. You can come up with your own designs. It's totally up to you. But what we're going to do is, using your pencil, you're going to start to add details to your sugar skull. 3 things that you must have in your sugar skull are the eyes, a nose, and a mouth. It could be any kind of eyes, any type of nose. I have a couple options here, or I have a couple options of mouth. So you must have eyes, you must have a nose, you must have a mouth. Everything else is up to you. Notice on my guide and in my example, I have some things that are colored black. We are not going to color them black with our pencil. We're going to wait until the next step to color them black. All I want you to do right now is draw the designs and the details on your sugar skull. Okay, so I have my sugar skull drawn exactly how I want it. I feel good about it. I'm ready to move on to the next step. The next thing we're going to do is trace over all of our pencil lines with a Sharpie. Now, I have two different Sharpies here. I have a thick Sharpie and I have a thin Sharpie. I'm gonna outline most of my sugar skull with my thick Sharpie, but there are some really small details like in my flower and some of my vines that are a little bit too small for my thick Sharpie. So if it's too small for the thick Sharpie and you feel like you're gonna lose your detail if you use the thick Sharpie, go ahead and do those small details with your thin Sharpie. At this point, we're also going to color in anything that we want to be black. So if you want part of your eyes to be black, your nose, if there's any details that you want to be black, color them in with your Sharpie. That does not mean that we're coloring in the whole thing black. We want most of it to be colorful. So any small details, like I said, the eyes or the nose are small details that you want to be black. You're going to go ahead and color those in with your Sharpie.